Hello there.
Holy freaking crap. I don't even know what to say. I literally have a hard time thinking of words to try and attempt to describe what we just saw. But if I had to pick one, it would be dark. We had an incredible cliffhanger at the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 2 that implied we would be getting more of the Chosen One, and this show delivered on that promise. We saw Darth Vader in all of his rage-filled glory. I don't want to waste any time. Let's get right to it. But before we do, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and comment below what your favorite part of Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3 was. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notifications bell so you'll be alerted every time I upload new content. Let's begin. The episode starts off with Obi-Wan Kenobi meditating in the ship trying to reach out to Qui-Gon Jinn. We then get some awesome shots of Darth Vader literally being pieced together. I am so happy we got this look at Vader because it really gives the audience a chance to see how brutal and painful wearing this iconic suit is for the Sith Lord. So many pins and needles and sensors are stuck into his body to help keep him alive. It really gives us a chance to see how pitiful this life is for Vader and how painful it really is being the Dark Lord. We then get some cool shots of the Mustafar landscape as the camera pans up to reveal Darth Vader's castle on the fiery lava planet. We then see Darth Vader talking to Reva, asking where Obi-Wan is, and the third sister tells Vader that they have probes out looking for him and that he will pay for the Grand Inquisitor's death. So Reva has already blamed Obi-Wan for the Grand Inquisitor's death at the end of Episode 2. This kind of shows what Reva's ulterior motives is and how she is trying to usurp Grand Inquisitor for the title and position of Grand Inquisitor. Vader then tells her that Grand Inquisitor means nothing to him as the only priority for Vader at this point is finding Obi-Wan. He then tells Reva that he's been watching her for some time and knows what she wants. Vader knows that Reva wants to be Grand Inquisitor, and if she is successful in capturing Kenobi and bringing him to Vader, she will get her desire. However, if Reva fails Vader, she will not live to regret it. Now I have to show some appreciation and love for James Earl Jones as he comes back to voice Darth Vader in an unconventional way. Even though he was credited with the voice of Vader in this episode, he didn't actually record any lines of dialogue. Instead, Lucasfilm used a company, Respeecher, to provide voice conversion services for the character. It's the same technique they used for Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett. Essentially what happens is Lucasfilm gives Respeecher audio clips of these characters, and Respeecher is able to use AI technology to essentially clone the voices of the actors so that Lucasfilm can have new lines of dialogue with a near identical voice as the original actors. It's really incredible stuff, and I'm so happy it was able to be pulled off for this episode. We then go back to the cargo ship as an impatient Leia asks Obi-Wan if he can use the Force to speed things up. Obi-Wan says that's not how it works, a clear callback to Han Solo's line in The Force Awakens. Leia then asks him how does it work and what does the Force feel like. Obi-Wan asks Leia if she's ever been afraid of the dark, and she shakes her head yes. Obi-Wan then asks her how she feels when she turns on a light, and Leia says that she feels safe. Obi-Wan then says, yes, it feels like that. I thought this was a beautiful analogy that really gives the audience some knowledge as to how it feels to use the Force. We've seen characters use the Force in Star Wars before, but we don't know what that feels like, and I feel like this scene was a beautiful look on the inside of what it feels like to actually use the Force. Obi-Wan and Leia arrive at their destination, the mid-rim mining world of Mapuzo. As they walk the barren landscape, Leia sees how corrupt the Empire is as they take over innocent worlds like Mapuzo and strip them of their resources. Obi-Wan then suddenly stops and gets a concerned look on his face as he sees a hallucination out in the distance. This mirage is none other than Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, and I have to say it was awesome to see Hayden back as Anakin in his Revenge of the Sith costume. We then go to Fortress Inquisitorius on the planet Nur, a location taken directly from the Jedi Fallen Order video game. It was pretty awesome to see this in live action. They really did it justice. Reva tells fifth brother and fourth sister that Vader has chosen her to lead the hunt for Kenobi, but fifth brother doesn't like this, and we see some conflict between Reva and fifth brother as they both believe they should be the next in line for Grand Inquisitor. Back on Mapuzo, Obi-Wan and Leia are waiting for Hajj's contact, but Obi-Wan gets worried, thinking that nobody is coming to meet them. Leia then runs out to the street and flags down a passing transport. We are introduced to the new character of Freck, who asks Obi-Wan and Leia who they are and what they're doing. Obi-Wan and Leia adopt the aliases of Orden and Luma, saying that they are farmers from the planet Tal. Freck agrees to give them transportation to the nearest spaceport, and along the way, Freck picks up a squad of Imperial stormtroopers. The stormtroopers say that they're hunting a Jedi fugitive and ask anybody if they've seen a Jedi around. Obi-Wan and Leia have to play dumb, but Obi-Wan accidentally slips up, calling Leia by her real name. The stormtroopers catch this and confront Obi-Wan about it, but he comes up with a quick excuse on the fly, saying Leia was Luma's mother's name, who has just recently passed away, and because things have been so hard, he often gets the two confused. He says, "When I look at Luma's face, I often see her mother." The stormtroopers then get off of the transport, and we get a touching scene between Obi-Wan and Leia as Leia realizes Obi-Wan knew her real mother and her real father. It's a very emotional scene as Leia wants to know more about her real heritage, but Obi-Wan can't tell her the truth as it would be too painful for the little girl to bear. Obi-Wan then tells Leia that as Jedi they are taken from their families at a very young age, and Obi-Wan has faint memories of his real family. He remembers his mother's shawl, his father's hands, and even a baby brother. I think it's pretty cool that we get these little details about Obi-Wan because it adds so much more emotional context to the character. Obi-Wan and Leia stop at an Imperial security checkpoint where a pro-droid scans Obi-Wan's face, blowing the Jedi's cover. After engaging in a short blaster shootout, Obi-Wan is able to defeat all of the stormtroopers, even giving one of them the Darth Maul treatment. That was pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. But shortly after this, another squad of stormtroopers shows up with an Imperial officer, but to everyone's surprise, the officer kills the stormtroopers, helping Obi-Wan and Leia escape. This new character leads Obi-Wan and Leia to a droid maintenance shop in the middle of a small town, where we are then introduced to a new droid character called Ned B. Obi-Wan and Leia are then led through the maintenance shop to a secret hideout in the back, where it is revealed that this is part of a larger network called the Path. The Path is used to smuggle Jedi and other Force sensitives away from the Empire to the planet Jabim, where they are given new lives of freedom. It's a pretty cool scene as we see etches and carvings in the wooden walls of previous people who have been here before. As Obi-Wan stares at one of the carvings, he says that Quinlan has been here. This is a reference to Quinlan Vos, a character from the Clone Wars that actually had a small cameo in a blink and you'll miss it moment in the Phantom Menace. This is pretty cool because we hadn't gotten any indication of Quinlan Vos's fate. The last we heard of him was in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan tells Anakin that Master Vos has moved his troops to Boz Pity. So this is pretty exciting for hardcore Clone Wars fans like myself to know that Quinlan Vos is alive and well. It also gives fuel to the fire of speculation that potentially Quinlan Vos helped Grogu escape the Empire during Order 66. He may have not been the one to rescue Grogu from the temple, but it's highly likely that Vos played a hand in getting Grogu away from the Empire. That's pretty cool, but back to the show. After a quick scene showing that the Inquisitors have learned of Obi-Wan's location, we jump back to Mapuzo where Obi-Wan starts to feel uneasy. He senses his former apprentice is on Mapuzo. We then get my favorite scenes of the episode and probably my favorite scenes of the show as a whole as Vader arrives in the town looking for Kenobi. And I just have to say, Deborah Chow's presentation of the character here is absolutely spot on. I love that whole horror vibe that Vader has here. He really does seem like he's a slasher villain in an old classic horror movie, and it absolutely fits this character here. As Vader walks through the town, he is looking for his former master when all of a sudden he senses that Kenobi is close by. He stops and looks around and then uses the Force to pull an innocent bystander out of a window, choking him with the Force. When the guy's son tries to come and rescue him, Vader shoves the boy against a wall and then brutally snaps his neck with the Force. It is so dark and evil, but Obi-Wan just has to stand and watch in terror and fear as he is paralyzed at the monster that lies in front of him. As Vader and Obi-Wan play a game of cat and mouse, Obi-Wan leads Vader away from the town, but the two are finally reunited. Obi-Wan is still terrified, and I just have to say, Ewan's acting in these scenes is absolutely perfect. His facial expressions really convey the fear that Obi-Wan has in his heart, and that fear is palpable to us as an audience. We then get one of my favorite lines of dialogue in the show when Kenobi asks Vader, "What have you become?" and Vader says, "I am what you made me." Obi-Wan continues to run away, but Vader eventually tracks him down, and the two engage in a lightsaber duel for the first time since Revenge of the Sith, and I have to say, this was awesome to see. However, it did seem like Vader was toying with Obi-Wan, and that's because, well, he was. If you pay attention, Vader is only fighting with one arm for most of this fight. That's because he wants Obi-Wan to know that he doesn't have to use his full strength to beat him. Vader remarks that the years have made Obi-Wan weak. Vader knows that if he wanted to end Kenobi's life, he could have, literally with the snap of his fingers. But Vader hates Obi-Wan so much, he wants him to suffer as much, if not more, than everything that Vader has suffered through. As Vader suspends Obi-Wan in the air with the Force, he then uses his lightsaber to set on fire some coals on the ground, and then he literally rakes Obi-Wan across the coals, burning him in a similar way that Anakin Skywalker was once burnt on Mustafar. I love to see this brutality of Darth Vader, as it really hammers home how dark Anakin has become, how far he has fallen. I love the mind games that Vader is playing with Kenobi, and this is just so cool to see, so satisfying to see as a hardcore Vader fan. At the end of the episode, we see Tala and Ned B rescuing Obi-Wan, radioing to a pilot telling him to get the ship ready and that they need to leave as soon as possible. They're probably going to take Obi-Wan to the planet Jabim, where Obi-Wan can heal from his injuries. Then in the final scene of the episode, Leia escapes in the tunnel, but is eventually met by Reva, who then kidnaps her, and the episode ends. So there you have it. That is my breakdown and review for Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3. I'd have to give this episode a 9 out of 10, and it is easily my favorite of the series so far. The only reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is because of the ending. I don't think for one second that Darth Vader would let Obi-Wan off the hook so easily. But I'm willing to forgive this small minor inconvenience because everything else that we got, especially of Vader, was just so dang good. I can't wait for Episode 4. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, give me a thumbs up and comment below what your favorite part was about Episode 3 and what you're most looking forward to in Episode 4. Thank you to everybody that showed up to the watch party for Episode 3, and I hope to see you for the watch party for Episode 4 this coming Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you everybody for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel and click the notifications bell so you'll be alerted anytime I drop a new video. Thanks again guys, I love you, I couldn't do this without you, and may the Force be with you.